How's it going, everybody? It's Matt again, and today we're going to take a look at a masterpiece third-party transformer. This time it's going to be GCreation's GDW-03 FUUMA, or their IDW style six-shot. This thing is huge, and it did come out quite a while ago, 2016. I only just now ended up getting my hands on one, just happenstance. It just looked cool, so I picked it up. So figure we'll take a look at it. This is just the regular edition version. I think there was like a black version and like a metallic version. This is just the regular one. But here's from the box. The box is quite large, but there it is from the front. There it is from the side and from the back, showing off all of his modes and everything. Of course, if you don't know who SIXSHOT is, he has basically 6 modes. 5 alt modes and then the robot mode. So this is probably going to be a little bit lengthier of a video, but we're gonna take a look at him. So away with the box. He does come with a fancy little card. It's very shiny, like a credit card. Shows all the modes and everything. The text is like barely readable at all, but so whatever. I don't really care about cards. And he does come with a big set of instructions. They're okay. They're a decent enough set of instructions. So yeah. So let's bring him in. So I just kind of picked whatever alt mode I felt. So here he is in his big jet mode. Obviously, we're going to transform him into all of the other alt modes. But I actually have to have the camera like way panned out to even show this because he's quite large. He's quite large, and he does have some die cast in him, so he's pretty heavy. But he does have a nice metallic coat to him. You can see the kind of metallic purple, I think, looks very nice, and the metallic teal does look very good. The white isn't painted, but he does have like some gunmetal accents and stuff here and there. So yeah, very nice. There he is from the bottom. He does have little rubber wheels. These are rubber and rubber treads. So those are kind of nice. The undersides of the wings are kind of waffled, so that's kind of unfortunate. And he doesn't really have any landing gear, so he just kind of plops down. So it is what it is. There is a post right here, which makes me think that you can put him on some kind of an action base, but it's going to have to be like a really big, really strong one because he does have some heft to him. He's pretty heavy. And it's not the most stable thing in the world. It's definitely kind of like, you know, nothing really tabs together very well in this guy, and that's going to be kind of a running problem throughout the video. It just doesn't feel solid, but here he is. He is going to come with some accessories. He's going to firstly come with these big guns, his big dual-wielding guns that everybody knows that he uses, and the handle does flip out for when he uses it in robot mode. There's a bunch of different places that you can put these things on him, namely here in Jet, it wants you to use these pegs here and plug them into the sides of the arms so that you can have them like this. That's kind of how it wants you to do it. But you can, utilizing these little pegs, you can plug them in like all over the place. You can put them up front here if you want to. There's a bunch of different spots that you can put these guns. I'll go ahead and pull those off. It is kind of unfortunate you can't put them on the ends of the wings because that's kind of how he looked like in the comics and in the show. I think he had the guns posted on the ends of the wings, but you can't do that, unfortunately. He's going to come with a giant sword. I don't think he ever even used a sword. I don't know why every SIXSHOT ever includes a sword at this point, but he does come with a sword. And actually, the sword itself, I'll pull it out of the sheath, this entire thing is die cast. It's a big, heavy sword. And it is nicely painted. But yeah, die cast, the whole thing, which is nice. Add some nice heft to it. And I'll show him holding that a little bit later, and he will be able to mount this on his body. You're going to come with various different little kind of blades. We have kind of like a shuriken and a kunai, which are very, very nice. It's just plastic. They have these little holes here and here, because you come with a bunch of little adapter pieces. Tiny little adapter pieces that will plug into these little holes and allow you to mount them all over his body, including this one, which is for the sword, which just kind of plugs in here, and then you can put them all over him. I'll show some different places when we get to that point, but there are quite a lot of little, just tiny little adapter pieces that we'll be messing around with. But let's go ahead and just transform him into one of his different modes. So let's turn him into his kind of like car mode. So what we're going to do to start off, and I'm going to try to keep this in frame because he's a big piece. This big section here, you're going to rotate to face this direction on both sides. And then we're going to take his wings here. We're just going to kind of lift them up and out of the way. And let's just kind of keep him up like this for now. His arms, see, I got to kind of like way pan out. We're going to take his little wings and put them up. We're going to rotate them around. The arm sections here, we're actually going to, let me see. So there's this little panel right here. You're going to open this up, and then see how it kind of dropped down. So there's two little slots here. You want it to be on the lower slot, and plug that back in, and it'll lock it down in a lower position. And then you just rotate that all the way back around. We're going to kind of lift it up out of the way for now. Same thing on the other side. I'm going to open up that panel, push it to the other slot, close it, rotate around, and lift that up. They are some nice solid ratchets on this guy though. Okay, try to keep this in frame. Actually, I'm going to lift the camera up a little bit, just so I have a little bit more space to work with. All right, so these sections here, you're going to pull on them. They're on a slider, and we're just going to kind of bring these whole sections down past this part here so that they're down to the side like this. We're just going to have them kind of set out of the way for now. Then we're going to come up here, and we're going to separate this front nose section, rotate it out to either side. These I keep saying little, these big parts here, you're going to lift up on them and kind of angle them down and lift this section up. Angle them down, lift this section up. It might help to open up these panels down here, because we want to pull on this little plug section right here. There's this little tab, pull up on that on both of these sides, and then you're going to pull and extend it down like this, and then push those pegs back in, and then these panels on the back here, you're going to plug back in how they were, and then these sections here are just going to kind of bring down and position them in a way that makes sense, because they don't really plug into anything, they just kind of sit. So I'm going to put them kind of like this. Just going to make sure that panel's plugged in like that, kind of. There we go. So you want it to kind of look like this. And then the front section here, these little wings are just going to kind of come around and slide into this little groove right here. So kind of lift them up, slide them into that groove right there, and it should kind of box off a little bit. And then we're just going to take the arms, rotate them in place, and then there is this little slot right here and peg. You just want to peg those together like that. And then we're just going to kind of take, position back down, take these wings, bring them down, and then just kind of angle them in like so. And then more or less, there is the car mode. So here it is. It kind of pegs together a little bit, at least the front does. It is still kind of a mess. Kind of all of SIXSHOT's modes are a mess. That's just kind of how he is. But he does, see, this is all coming undone. He does have a bunch of rubber wheels that he does roll on. These wheels here, these wheels here, and there are 4 additional wheels on the front section here. Oh, and there's another wheel right there. So he does roll quite well, actually. But I mean, he's all right looking. It's definitely a 6-shot alt mode. It looks more like just a big square than really a vehicle, but that's not really the fault of the figure. That's just kind of the design. Do wish it would have pegged together a little bit better because it is still loosey-goosey. It doesn't really feel solid at all. But yeah, so there is the car mode. So let's turn him into something else. Oh, actually, the guns. The guns do peg. If you use this peg here, you can put them onto, like, right here on the top of the vehicle, or on the wings rather. So you can put them like that. You can also, of course, using the same peg, you can peg them into the sides of the arms again. You can peg them in right here. There's a whole bunch of different places you can put these things. But let's get them transformed into something else. All right, so next up, let's do the tank mode. So we're gonna take the wings and you're just gonna rotate them around on this hinge and pull them back up. So rotate them around, pull them back up, just kind of get them out of the way for now. These front sections here, you're just gonna rotate so the wheel is down. You're gonna unpeg from that section again, and then rotate this around the other way so that's revealing the treads. Same thing here, rotate them around. I'm not going to peg them in yet because they're probably going to go all over the place if I try to. So just kind of leave the wings down for now. And then we got to deal with this whole mess of the front here. So kind of get these up out of the way. We're going to want to open all this up. So pull that panel down, pull that panel out. And we're going to just kind of separate everything for now. This has to be out of the way because this big purple panel with the foot attached, you're going to lift up the little foot sections here and then pull this panel up to just kind of get everything out of the way. These panels have to open here to reveal all this mess. And then you're going to want to rotate at that joint. It's going to be a pain because it also rotates here and here, and these joints are weaker. That joint's tight. So you have to kind of position your hands in a way to only rotate that joint. And see how this one came undone. But you're going to want to rotate all of that at that very solid connection until it's all the way back like this. I'm going to do that on the other one too. Of course, I got to get the foot out of the way. So, rotate that joint, and it is solid too, so it's kind of difficult to work with. There we go. Okay, now there are guns kind of packed into these legs. You want to rotate those out. They're on little ball joints. Rotate those out on either side. There we go. And then we're going to, let's see, just kind of line everything up. Let me pan the camera up. So these panels are going to stay open because they need to be able to rotate the legs out, but all these other panels can close, like this one. I'm going to close that back up. These sections here, you actually want to, there's a panel attached to the foot. You want to push that open so it kind of fills in this gap here. And then close this back shut like this. and then just kind of position the foot down like this. So we're going to open up that panel. That's going to plug back in. The foot's going to come down, and then we're just going to peg all this back together. Like that. All right. And now just kind of leave space for everything. And we're going to raise this whole section up on all these different joints here. Let me bring that back down. I'm just going to bring this whole section up like this. And you can utilize that other joint there to kind of just position the guns up in a way that makes sense. And then these wheels, there are little plugs on the insides of the rims of the wheels. You're just going to kind of line up the wheel in a way where it will plug onto this little plug right here. Like that. It doesn't plug in the best because it is on a part that rotates, but it's something at least. All right, so now I'll just kind of raise everything up in a way that makes sense. Put these panels down, and then these wings will just fold in like this and just kind of rest against it like so. And basically it's a tank, kind of. Again, it is a 6-shot vehicle. It looks kind of like a tank, I guess, but there it is. It is extremely wibble wobbly. It does not hold together hardly at all. Not the greatest thing in the world, in my opinion, but it looks the part, I suppose. And I guess these parts you can kind of position back. I didn't really do that, but you can position those however you want to kind of make it fill out a little bit better. But I mean, it's an alien tank vehicle. What do you expect? The treads do work, which is kind of nice, but they are kind of rubber and wonky, but they do work on the front and back. But it serves its purpose, I suppose. But the actual turret, I mean, you can't really rotate it much, but it can move up and down, even though it's a pain because everything is so kind of finagly. But these little cannons can move up and down. And of course you can take his big guns and you can plug them into either side here to give him even more guns if you want. So you can do that. All right, so next mode. Let's turn him into about his big gun. We'll turn him into his big handgun mode. So what we're going to want to do is kind of just undo this again. Rotate everything down. Just kind of line everything back up. Like how it was. And then from here, just kind of make sure everything is arranged how it's supposed to. Everything's coming undone. Oh my God, what a nightmare. And just kind of position everything in a way that makes sense, kind of. All right, so now the wings here, you're gonna bring down, fold them down, and just so I have room on camera, I'm just gonna leave those as is. This panel here, you wanna open that back up, and then drop that back down, close it back up, open the panel, drop it back down, close it back up. We're gonna kind of get the wings out of the way, unplug the wheels from these panels here, and then rotate all the way around like that. Hold on. All right, so we're gonna take this wheel section here and rotate it so all of the treads in the wheel are facing the same direction. So it should be like this. These panels you're gonna bring back up and then slot back into place here. push it back down, slap it back into place, push it back down, and then these wing sections here are just going to kind of fold in upon each other. And just kind of line everything back up the best you can. And then these wing sections here, you're going to rotate them back around, and we're going to line them up first and peg them together if we can. There we go. Peg everything in together. Oh, it's coming undone. Peg everything together, and then these sliders you're just going to push down. Actually, let me do that first. There we go. There we go, because it has these sliding mechanisms. You want to push them down, and then now we'll plug everything back together, and it doesn't want to stay. There we go. And basically, more or less, there's the gun mode with the handle. You can, of course, take the big guns here and put them on the front to give him even more gunnage. But it's floppy, it's a mess. It doesn't hold together really at all. You can't even hold the handle without it falling. Like, here. Yup. Basically worthless as a gun. But it's all right. I don't know if anybody ever actually liked SIXSHOT for his gun mode anyways, but it's definitely not the best. I will say that. So let's go ahead and just speedily just get right on to the next mode. All right, let's do his, probably the best mode, which is his wolf mode. So let's turn him into that. So we're gonna lift these up, rotate them the other way and press them back down. I think that's how it wants you to do it. And then the arm sections here, gonna kind of rotate down like this. His wings, going to separate, pull up on them again on that slider, like this, like that. And just kind of get them out of the way for now. The leg sections here are going to lift up on this panel, rotate them out, rotate these in. You're going to put the, oh, the gun came undone. There we go. You're going to put the guns back where they were, like this. These panels you're going to put back down. Just kind of take the feet out. These panels can go back where they were now. And then this section here, you're actually going to want to separate them. And then this panel is going to open. And this time you want to lift on this and take this entire knee pad part and put it inside the leg like this. And then put that panel back. Again, lift on that, lift up this piece, put that whole thing inside the leg, close that panel back up. And then now, utilizing this joint and this joint, you're going to angle the leg down like this. Like that. And then this panel will just plug right back in how it was. Same with that one. Same with that one. And now, there we go. Those are kind of like the wolf's back legs. And now the front section here, you're going to take these panels, you're going to pull that off, and then this whole section here will flip up. That panel will close, that panel will close, and then the little wolf paw here will open. And then these tabs is kind of a pain to get in here, but you want to open up this part, and then the little heel will flip out and put that panel back. And then there's the front foot. So same thing back here, pull that panel back, flip this section up, flip that panel in, and that panel in. And the foot will come down. That will open. That will come out. That'll put back in. And there's the front foot. God, this thing's heavy. So, bring that back. The entire top section here, you're going to pull up on all this, and this whole panel should open. You have to kind of push forwards. Yeah, push forwards and lift up, and this whole section will come undone. And then the wolf head, you got to watch the ears. It will flip up and around, kind of lift up the head. This neck section will close back down, and you can put that back like that. And then this will come back and peg in the exact same way that it did. And then you can kind of position the wings however you want. And there is the wolf mode. Okay, so it's all right. it's all right, I guess. But there it is. There it is from the side. There it is from the back. It is definitely a mode of all time, but it is a thing that you can do. The head does move up and down. The mouth does open, so you can do that. The wings, you know, you can move up and down and rotate them and pose them however you want to on various different joints. The legs do have that kind of wonky joint here, and you can move it on like all these different things. There's honestly, it's a big problem with this thing. There's just too much, there's too many joints. But I don't know. I'll go over the articulation a bit more when we get to robot mode, but there is this wolf mode. It's a mode that you can do. That's for certain. You can, of course, take his guns. You can plug them into the sides of the legs. There's, you know, different ports that you can put them on. I think you can plug them into the back here on the arms. So all different kinds of stuff that you can do with those. But finally, let's get him to robot mode. So, close up the wolf's mouth, flip these up, push forwards, pull back, and it is kind of a pain to get this wolf head back in here, but you want to lift that up, pull this down, kind of bring it down like this, and just kind of rest it in like so, and then this panel will come back and slide back into place. Wow, I did that first try. Last time I wasn't so fortunate. So now we want to take these parts here and you're going to push in. Make sure that both of those slides lock in like this. And rotate the wings around and bring them up like this. And now, let's do these panels right here. Bring them down, plug them into the sides. Plug them in the sides. I want to bring these back up. Helps to open this up. Make sure that these panels are in the correct orientation. You know, let's go ahead and just open up all of these panels just to be safe. This knee section here is going to raise up. And, oh, would you look at that? It broke. Cool. Yeah, look at that. It broke while I was moving it. That's a shame. Well, let me see if I can fix this off camera. Okay, so this part here definitely did break. It looks like this plastic is just not very strong because the joint section here just completely popped out and I had to kind of take it apart and put it back together. But I got it, so it kind of works. Now I'm just going to be kind of cautious with it. But we're going to bring these joints and kind of make sure that they are parallel to this part here. Bring this knee section up like this. And we're going to close this panel back up, make sure this purple bit is popped out and that gray part is popped up. Bring that back down. Bring that up. Oh, man. why aren't you going together? There we go. Bring them down so it kind of fits in this groove. And then this section back here, see now it's all loose. You want to make sure this is pushed in so it locks, but now that mine's broken, I don't know if it's going to do it correctly. These panels bring down, these panels bring back up, and plug in. Yeah, it's going to be all wonky now. I'm going to make sure that is pushed back in, put that in, put that in, and then the heel section here. It can be kind of a pain to get these things out. You want to pull the heel spur out, and then you want to pull on a slider and position that like so. Same thing here. See, there's not really anything that you can grab onto to get this out. But so it's kind of like tools are necessary to get this thing out. Gosh, I might actually have to do this off camera. Yeah, all right, I gotta do it off camera. All right, so I scratched the heck out of this part getting it out of there, but I did. All right, pull this back up, and flip it up. And now, just gonna kind of position all of the leg joints in a way that makes sense so that he can at least stand, ideally. As long as everything doesn't collapse on me. The waist panels, or the front skirt panels, you want to kind of position out. And of course, nothing pegs together at all down here, so it's all super loose. Okay, he's standing at least. So now up here to the top, I'm going to put away the wolf paws just like how we did before. Lift that up, close them to the panel, push those down. We're going to rotate the arms down. Rotate these in a way that looks cool and makes sense. The arms here, I'm going to rotate them around so the tread is facing forwards. This big panel here, we're going to lift up and pull the fist out. Close that panel back up. Rotate, lift the panel up, pull the fist down, close it. His chest wings bring out. This big panel take down and lift his head up. And then plug that back into the base of his neck. And holy cow, there is SIXSHOT. Let me pan out. I gotta really back out my camera because he is huge. He's huge. Oh, so there he is. He's big. He looks good. The paint job is really nice, but oh man, he's a flimsy mess. He is such a flimsy mess, especially in the legs, unfortunately. So I'm definitely not too happy about that. Obviously his leg broke while I was recording, so that's not the best in the world, but there he is from the back, and from the side, and all of that good stuff. Like I said, he is quite large. I'll do size comparisons here in a bit, but yeah. He does have a kind of goofy little gimmick here in his chest. You can pull these panels down, if I can even access them. There we go. You can pull these panels down. You can reveal like missile launchers, which is cool, I guess. But of course, you have all of his accessories that you can do what you want with. We've got his big guns, which of course we can pull out the handles, and his hands are like super articulated. Every little joint ever moves on these things, but everything's loose, so all the panels always open and get in the way. The thumb, unfortunately, doesn't pivot down, so you have to just kind of twist it to the side and get it out of the way in order for him to hold the gun. But the gun, like the panel, see everything's coming undone. The panel or the peg that you put in is like, yeah, I don't know if you saw that. So I think that this hole tapers a little bit because if you put the peg in his hand and just wait, or just give it a little bit of pressure, oh no, it's not gonna do it. Yeah, it just pops right out. Not good. But you can just kind of wrap his fingers around it, kind of. And he holds it decent enough, but I mean, if you shake it, it's gonna pop right out. Not the greatest, to be honest. All right, so those are the guns. We also have his sword. You can, utilizing this hole, put it on that peg on the back. That works just fine. You do also have this adapter that you get, which allows you to put it on like this. And actually, I think that was meant for wolf mode for the tail. Yeah, that was meant for the tail. Sorry about that. I missed that little adapter. But I'm looking for, there's so many different pieces here. I believe it is this adapter. So you can put that little adapter piece on there, and it allows you to put it on his hip. So you can do that. There are also, I forgot for the guns here, there are these adapters, which allows you to put them on those pegs, and then you can put them on his hips as well if you want to do that. Oh man. And you of course have his kunais and the various adapters you can use for these, like you plug these in, that's not the right one. You can, now I'm just throwing stuff. These adapters. This little piece you can plug in there, put those there, you can put them on his arms, a whole bunch of different stuff. Same thing with his little shurikens. And he can, I mean, I guess hold them. You just kind of put them in between the fingers and whatnot, and he can hold these in his hands, just close the fingers around them. He does it well enough. The sword, he can hold, but it suffers from the same issue as the guns, to where over time it'll just kind of pop out. But he does hold it well enough. He actually probably holds his sword better than the guns, to be honest. So lots you can do with the accessories. So let's go over articulation real quick. So at the head, there is a ball joint in the neck. Let me pan this up a little bit. There's a ball joint in the neck. Go down that far, go up really far on that ball joint, side to side, and rotate. So really good motion on that. But then there's also another joint in the neck, which lets him chicken head a little bit right here. The shoulders are kind of a mess. The torso section up here, it does have a joint like back here. So you can raise this like crazy high up like that. And then there's another joint here in the shoulder, which allows you to go about that far out to get about 90 degrees, which is all right. There is a kind of butterfly joint here, but it can't go forwards. It can only go backwards, which is just bizarre, but it is a thing that you can do. And of course, everything comes undone the second I move anything. If you move that out of the way, you can rotate his arms 360 degrees. He does have a rotational axis up here below, or like above the bicep here. You can rotate that all the way around. You can also rotate at the forearm. And he does have a very thick ratchet joint here in the elbow, but you can only get like not even 90 degrees. His wrist does rotate all the way around. His hands are very articulated. So let me open up the palm here. There is a little hinge here in the base of the thumb, followed by a ball joint up here, followed by a pin for just one joint here at the thumb. All of the individual fingers have a pin here, and then there is another pin here and here for two little digit joints, and then there's a pin at the base of the knuckle so you can do spread hand poses. So that's decent. He does have an ab crunch. It's not a lot forwards or back. It's actually hardly anything, but it is there. And you can rotate at the waist, nothing side to side. The front skirts here, they move up and down this way, and they can move forwards and back. The side skirts will move out, get out of the way for the legs, and the back skirts can move out too, just out just a little bit. Speaking of the hips, you can get that far forwards, but his legs are so heavy that he can't hold them up, which is not good. You can go back about that far, but again, he can't really hold his legs. And there's another joint there, which allows you to get the legs out all the way, and you can hold that joint just fine. So a little bit stronger joint here in the waist would have been nicer. You can rotate the thigh all the way around, and he does have like 3 knee joints. He's got the joint down here that, or here, let me pan this down. He has the joint in here that broke on my, see it's completely screwed up now. That part keeps coming unplugged, so he can't really stand very well. But there's a joint up here, there's a joint down here. In order to utilize this joint, you have to bring this panel down, and then you can get about 90 degrees on it if you do that. All right, the feet, there is an ankle rocker up here. You can move that in, but then there's also a ball joint up here for the foot itself. You can angle that forwards and back, and the heel can move up and down. But these ankles are extremely weak. I'm not even gonna lie, they're very weak. The feet themselves are die cast, but like, they really do not do a good job of holding them up at all. So it's kind of like a fight to get him to do any kind of pose that you're gonna want him to be in, because he's just gonna be falling apart the whole time. He does not really peg in well together at all. He's just a shaky, wobbly mess, unfortunately. But, yep, see, there he goes. So let me get him cleaned up and we'll do some size comparisons. Okay, so I've got him way panned out so I can fit in some stuff to show him with. I don't have too much that makes sense, but let's start off with just some G1 stuff. How about here he's next to Magic Square's Brawl that just came out recently. And then here's Magic Square's Optimus 2.0. So yeah, he's a big boy. He's huge. All right, and then how about here he is with Dreamstar Toys, their Scrapper that just came out a little while ago. And then how about that knockoff Flame Toys RC. Just have to prop her up against his leg because she's real tiny. And then how about the only other release that I have from GCreation, which was also a freaking mess. There is their Optimus. So, I mean, IDW stylized, he looks good. He does look really good next to other kind of IDW stylized figures. It's just a shame that he's the whole thing. I'll go over more towards the end, but there he is. Size comparisons. Okay, and that's going to do it for GCreation's GDW-03 FUUMA, or their IDW stylized SIXSHOT. He's a freaking mess, man. This is like not a very good figure in my opinion. It looks good, don't get me wrong. Once you get him in a place or in a pose, he's gonna look great on your shelf. He's gonna, nice paint. I love the design, very nice stylization. but this thing is a big floppy mess. Nothing pegs together correctly. The tolerances are weird. The joints are weak. Like his hand, like the guns here, they're not even pegged in. They're just kind of frictioned around, like his hands are holding them. It just all feels off. All of the different modes, they don't peg together. You get the idea. You could tell I was getting frustrated transforming him. About like halfway through the video, I started to get a little upset. But love hate. He looks great. As you know, I love IDW. I love all of IDW designs. But man, it's a whole mess interacting with this thing. Much like how their Optimus was just a nightmare to transform and do anything with. It's the exact same thing with this. And I feel like it's even less of an excuse with SIXSHOT, just because I feel like SIXSHOT is a lot simpler of a design. Like the panels and stuff, and how everything pops apart, and how nothing kind of goes together right on the legs. And like the torso, when you mess with anything, like these wing parts just kind of pop off and doesn't peg together correctly. It makes for an all around just not a very good time messing with this thing. But if you just want something that's going to look good on your shelf, he looks great. I'm not going to lie. It's probably one of the better SIXSHOTs that we have at this scale as far as just looks are concerned. But oof, I don't know if it's worth it for the transformation itself or messing around with it, because this was an expensive figure. I'm not going to lie. This was a little high dollar. Obviously just because he's so big. And honestly, I feel like the die cast kind of hurts him, especially in the feet, just because his legs can't hold poses, just because he has so much weight to him, which is unfortunate. But yeah, so I'd say positives. I mean, he looks good. He looks the part. Negatives, I mean, it's pretty much all negatives, to be honest. I really don't know if I can recommend him as far as a figure. But if you just want something that's going to look good and just a standing pose in your shelf, sure, power to you. But I don't know how long this guy's going to stay in my collection, to be honest. But yeah, so that's all I have to say about him. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you liked the video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. If you want to see any of my other videos, they are conveniently in a playlist that is just right on the home on the channel. So you can watch all my other reviews. Also, feel free to support me on Patreon. That is mainly just for like my Armored Core stuff and my 3D printing side, but it is another way that you can support me. If you want to be a member, feel free to be a member. There aren't really any perks right now to being a member. I may have videos that release a little bit earlier, but I don't know if I have enough viewers for that to even matter. But you can do that if you want. If you just want to support me, feel free. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks, guys. Bye.